Good day, everybody. Welcome to another Tune Chat. I am Justine Rayfield, and this is
Ron Rayfield. You know, I'm still not used to hearing you say Justine Dorn.
me either. I mean, every time I write an email or what have you in the modern world, I want to say Justine Dorn, then I have to backtrack and hit backspace because I'm Justine Rayfield now. It's official. Went to the Social Security office, which was a hilarious experience on its own.
Yeah.
I guess we'll tell you guys about that in a little bit. But for now, we are tasting lemonade from 1832 from the book called The Cook's Own Book. Yes, they did have lemonade back then. In fact, lemonade goes way back, and it wasn't just a drink for the wealthy. It was a drink that almost anyone could have appreciated unless you were dirt poor, because it was a very popular street food, if you will, street drink at the time, not only in the United States but also in England and especially in France. It was very popular. So we're going to try this rather bizarre receipt for lemonade, about 200 years old. See if we like it or not.
Now, the cookbook that you referenced was actually published in Boston.
That's right.
So this is an American receipt.
Now, what makes this lemonade a little unusual compared to modern lemonade? It has cloves, it has cinnamon, and it has
Orange.
And it has
Egg.
eggs.
That's right. Egg. E-G-G. Egg.
You know, I've been lifting some heavy weights building this house lately, and I thought I didn't want just some regular old lemonade. I wanted a protein drink.
That's what it is. I think it's to replenish you, not only to refresh and, you know, satisfy your sweet taste buds, but also give you a little boost, I guess, the protein from the eggs. That's the only thing I can think of why you would put eggs in lemonade.
I don't know why either, because, well, Ron hasn't tried it yet. I'm going to let him try it and see what he thinks about it, and then I'll share my thoughts. Ding.
Blank.
Ding.
That's very interesting.
It does not taste like modern lemonade.
No, it does not.
No, it does not.
There's something about it. I think I don't taste egg, but there's something there to where it's like, what is this?
It's probably the clove you're tasting.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, to me, first of all, it's good. I actually really like this.
It is pretty good, actually.
It is really, really good.
It's different than what you're. It's not Minute Maid.
This to me tastes like a holiday drink.
Yeah, if you were to heat it up.
Yeah, it tastes like holiday fruit punch because it has the orange and the lemon, and it has clove and cinnamon in it. So it doesn't. I mean, to me, it doesn't feel like a summer drink. It feels like a Christmas time drink. But it's very, very good, and I will say it is thicker than regular modern lemonade, and I guess that's the eggs, but I do not taste egg at all.
No, it doesn't taste eggy. It's actually not bad. I'm probably gonna get myself a refill, to be honest with you.
It ain't bad. It's actually really good. I actually quite care for it, and I might consider making this again around Christmas time.
As you can see, it looks kind of normal like lemonade. It's a cloudy yellow color.
It does look like lemonade. It smells like lemonade.
I like that they put orange in it, and then the spices. I like spices.
Me too.
That's good.
So what would you rate this? About 190-year-old receipt for lemonade.
I'm gonna give this receipt an 8 out of 10.
And why is that?
I would honestly, the only thing I'm complaining about is because it's 100 degrees out here, and it's not ice cold out of a refrigerator. That's the only thing driving it down. If this was ice cold or piping hot, I'd probably give it a 10. But since it's just kind of like room temperature, which is 95 degrees right now, it's getting an 8.
But that's our own fault because the receipt actually says to serve it cold.
Right.
But realistically, out here, ice was a little more expensive. It wasn't impossible to get ice. I mean, St. Genevieve, which is a town we live in, had multiple ice houses in the early 1800s, and some of them still exist. Actually, the Pewter store today used to be an ice house in the early 1800s. So you could have gotten ice even in summertime, but it's not the kind of thing that unless you were more on the wealthy side, you would have gone out of your way to get frequently. So I spent all my money on these lemons and oranges. I had nothing left for the ice, so we just kind of had to let it sit out and get to be room temp.
Now, you could cool things down back then by sticking them in a spring house or sticking them in a jug and putting it in a stream where the water's nice and cool.
Or down your well.
But we haven't had rain in a couple weeks, so the creeks are dry, so we can't really cool it off that way today. So we're just drinking it air temperatured.
Drinking hot lemonade on a hot day. Man, we're crazy.
Yes, we are.
It's 90 degrees out here, by the way.
Well, the last few days it's been over 100 degrees, so it's insane to say this, but 90 feels really great compared
great.
to 100.
Compared to 100. We've been out working on the house, and man, it's rough. Now, we started working on our summer kitchen recently. I'm super excited.
AKA working on it means drawing it out on paper and putting some stakes in the ground. That's as far as we got.
Yeah, for the summer kitchen part, I think we're still on track for moving in around Halloween time.
Hoping so.
I'm really, really hoping so. It's going to be tight, but we're going to try our best to do it.
Yeah. And also, speaking of the homestead, we got our first watermelon here.
Our first little baby watermelon. We're going to dig on into it. Would you please cut into it?
Yes. Did I get
Thank
a
you.
drum? Can I get a drum roll? Boy, it's a tough little feller.
You better hurry up.
I am. Oh, splashing my drink. Yay, look at that.
Hey, there's actual red inside. It's always kind of iffy. Is it really going to look like a watermelon on the inside? Now, watermelons in the 18th century and 17th century and earlier, there was more rind in it than there was actual pink flesh, and they had to be selectively bred over centuries to get more of the red flesh. By the time we get to the 1800s, it looks more like a modern day watermelon. And you know, it's kind of like bananas. You know, bananas used to have seeds in them. They used to look like pawpaw fruits on the inside.
Oh, wow. Well, that's why pawpaws taste like bananas. Or the consistency is like a banana.
I never thought of that.
Maybe they're related. They both grow on trees.
Maybe. But wild bananas that humans haven't interfered with genetically, they still have the seeds in it. Mmm. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Now spit the seeds out.
We can keep the seeds and we can grow watermelons next year.
That's true. Are you one of those people that like to put salt on your watermelon?
Absolutely not.
What about sugar?
Absolutely not.
Neither am I. I just like it plain.
Me too.
That's one of the juiciest watermelons I ever ate. Look at that. It's just dripping off of there.
Man, that's good.
It is good.
You know, in the Middle East, they eat watermelon with feta cheese, and I think it's because, again, of that salty and sweet.
That's weird.
You guys put salt on your melon. That's weird to me. Why would you?
I don't do that.
Not you, but the people of these lands, this country, this nation, they put salt on their melons, and I just don't get that.
Please excuse my slurping. I'm trying to take it all in.
Man, that's good.
You know what's who would really like these? The chickens. So Savies will give these to the chickies.
Okay.
They love watermelon. Now I'm sticky.
Let me cut some more because that is divine. Now, let's get into the history of lemonade. Not a recent invention by any means.
Maybe the powdered stuff, recent invention.
Oh, well, yeah. Just about powdered anything is a recent invention. You know, the ancient Egyptians had the very primitive early version of lemonade. It's just basically lemon juice with a little tiny bit of sugar in it to make it palatable. And originally lemonade was marketed as a medicine.
Really?
It was, and it was marketed to treat influenza, which is another word for the flu. Maybe because it has vitamin C in it, but at the time they didn't know that. It also was used to treat upset stomachs, diarrhea especially, dysentery. And then later, once we get to the 1600s, that's when it started to be more available to just your everyday working Joe. It wasn't an expensive medicine anymore. We had really well-established trade routes in Europe by this point for places that grew lemons. And so in the 1600s, in France, lemonade for the first time started to be sold as a street drink.
A street drink?
A street drink. Street sellers in France would have a big old keg, a wooden keg strapped to their back, And in it would be the lemonade. Sometimes they had a permanent stand set up, and you would find these vendors all across Europe, but it was especially popular in France and England and eventually in America. Now, the first recorded written down recipe for lemonade in the United States is from the 1820s. This is from 1832, and in this time period, commonly they did have eggs in them. Not always, but very commonly, I'd say 2/3 of the time they did, and they almost always had some spices added to it. So we've actually downgraded our lemonade as time has gone by. We've taken out the spices, we've taken out the eggs, which may or may not have been a good decision, and a lot of the receipts of the time period also involve adding alcohol, unsurprisingly, like sherry.
Wow, to the lemonade?
To lemonade. But I'm not surprised. I mean, they added alcohol to everything back then.
Then again, I guess if you add tequila to lemonade, you get margarita. Right?
Oh, it's an old drink. Goes back a long time. And I really would love if you guys would try this exact receipt, word for word, at home, and tell me what you think about it, because it's actually really good. I mean, you wouldn't think it would be. And I can definitely see this being a cool school project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe if your teacher says, okay guys, project is make an old food from the past or whatever, come out in the class with your 1832 lemonade and you will win an A+ on that project, because this actually tastes really, really good. It's not that hard to make either.
You know what? I love modern watermelons more than historic ones because there ain't no seeds.
Oh, you like seedless
I
watermelons.
like the seedless ones. This is a pain in the butt trying to go around these seeds. I chewed like 4 of them and I just gave up and swallowed them.
It ain't natural for a fruit not to have seeds.
That's how it reproduces.
Yeah.
Do we want to tell them about our experience at the Social Security office?
Okay. Let's get into it.
So you have to go to the Social Security office today to change your last name if you get married, or if you get divorced, or if you are in witness protection, or if you just feel like changing your name, I guess.
If you're getting food stamps, I mean, whatever. Unemployment.
Retirement. Old people stuff.
There's a lot of reasons to go to Social Security office. Yeah, so we got married about a month ago, and it was finally about time that I needed to change my last name. I decided I did want to change my last name to Rayfield from Dorn. From a German last name to a British last name.
Hey, easy with that. Easy with that. They don't need to know. They don't need to know my ancestors'
dark
sins.
secrets. But so we go to the Social Security office, and I tell Ron, you know, when we're in the parking lot, every time I go to the Social Security office, I have a very weird experience here. Like, the people there are just, I don't know, there's mental illness that takes place in the Social Security offices. Let me put it that way. People need help, and they go there.
Before we even got in the door, we were still in the parking lot, and a gentleman approached us and was just going on about, I don't even know what.
He wanted a ride, but not from us. He was just going on a rant about, like,
he was ranting to himself. He was quiet until we got about 10 foot ahead. Then he turned and faced us and just started talking very loudly and frantically. And I was like, okay, Justine.
Just ignore him.
In
Just
the
keep
door.
going. And then we go inside, and you know the security guard's in there, and he comes up to us and he says,
You have any explosives? You got any firearms or any stabbing devices like knives and such? And we're like, no. So then Justine gets her purse searched, and we grab a number, which apparently you can't just take a ticket out of the little red thing like you used to. So now you got to go like beep, boop, boop.
Touch.
Yeah,
touch
and it spits out a number.
Right.
We're like 10 numbers away from whatever number they're on. There's a bunch of people in there, and we have a seat, and we sit next to this younger gal. It's got a young kid with her, and she's on the phone. I mean, I don't eavesdrop, but it's hard not to pick up on the conversation when they're having it with themselves very loudly, and the person over the phone, and they're like, the government keeps screwing me, and Just all kinds of craziness.
And her kid was literally running around screaming. Like, literally screaming, running around in circles, and the security guard was freaking out saying, he's not allowed to do that, ma'am, he has to stay seated.
And then she snapped at the security guard, what do you want me to do? He told me to stay. Control your kid. You're a grown woman, and you're behaving like a child yourself to begin with.
So anyway, after waiting for about 40 minutes, and our number hadn't even moved up by 1, we just walked up and left.
I said, let's get out of here. We'll come back tomorrow as soon as they open and be the first ones in the door. So we came back the next day, and somebody beat us to it, which was fine because we only had to wait like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but
10, 15 minutes.
We walked in, the same security guard, and he says, do you have any firearms or any stabbing devices like knives? And we said no. And I said, aren't you going to ask me if you have explosives? And he looked at me like, huh?
That was a bad idea.
Hey,
the guy had no sense of humor.
No. And I knew he didn't. But if you're going to literally ask me if I have explosives, if I'm somebody that's going to do bad things with explosives,
you're not going to say
am
yes.
I going to say, oh yeah, you know what, this changed my mind. Here, hold this grenade for me.
Who just casually walks around with a grenade in their pocket? But the thing is, Ron was like, oh, I was hoping that you were going to ask if I had explosives today because I ate beans last night. Oh man, I had some beans. And the guy looked at him like, what'd you say? And I had to jump in. It was getting really awkward. They were just like,
they were going to take me to the ground.
Yeah, they were just awkwardly staring at each other. So I said, he's making a joke, sir, about farts. The security guard said, oh, okay. Like, he had no sense of humor about it.
And then I walked away. He's like, so you got a case of fireworks, huh? And I was like, what? It didn't make any sense.
But then you said the sulfur type.
Yeah, I said the extra sulfury kind of stink.
I was dying.
I was going to say stink bombs, but I figured I better not say the word bomb because the word explosive was already putting this guy on edge.
I was dying. He had no sense of humor, and Ron was desperately trying to make like the guy happier because he seemed so miserable.
Hi, welcome to the Social Security office.
You have any explosives?
You have explosives or
yeah, I
weapons
do.
Or...
I ate beans last night. What do you mean? Explosives. No, talking about farting. Oh.
You guys get it, right? Come
he didn't. I thought we were about to get kicked out. But anyway, long story short, I got my last name changed. Here I am now. I'm a Rayfield.
Yep. You'll always be a Dorn, though. You're from the Dorn family.
Yeah.
So, you'll always be your daddy's girl and your mama's girl. But you're mine, too.
Yeah, I'm yours, too.
Well, let's get into this week's weird history fact.
This week's weirdest history fact. We're outside and it feels awesome. Go!
It does feel pretty nice for 93 or whatever it is right now.
It was 103 in there.
I know, I'm not complaining. Even though the sweat's literally dripping down my eyes. Okay.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Hey!
Thanks, Ron. Okay, I'll slice it in half.
Alright, so this week's weird history is about the United States flag. Did you guys know that the 15-star flag is the only American flag to have 15 stripes? Well, in 1777, Congress said that the flag should have 13 alternating white and red stripes and should have 13 stars in a field of blue. Well, in 1795, 2 more states were added. That was Kentucky and Vermont, I believe. And when that happened, they added 2 more stars and 2 more stripes. So that made the flag taller. Now, this flag was in existence all the way until, I believe, 1818. And so at that point, they said, wait a minute, we've got to change the rules. We cannot add any additional stripes to the flag, or else it's going to start being a vertical rectangle instead of a horizontal rectangle.
Yeah, imagine 50 stripes.
That would be insane. So they changed it back to just having 13 original stripes and then only adding the stars. What did you do?
Ron, I dropped a little piece of melon.
Oh, never mind. My half is here. I thought she dropped my half. Give it to the chickies.
Okay. Dang it.
So anyways, that's the only flag that has ever had 15 stripes on it in the history of our country.
So they tried to do this weird thing where they would add a stripe every time there was a new state instead of a star.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't going to work because then the flag would end up being like ridiculously long and tall.
It'd be like a banner.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't.
Like-
You're right, a banner, a
Yeah.
scroll.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my weird history fact.
Mmm. Man, I got a hankering for watermelon.
I'm really digging this lemonade. You guys need to try this. And I've made another refreshing drink here on the show as well. If you guys have ever heard of Switchel, and if you haven't, please check out the video. I'll put it at the end of this video to where it starts. It's got vinegar. It's got molasses in it.
Yeah, some honey.
Honey.
It's good. It's very refreshing.
Ginger. Lots of ginger. It's very good, and it will cool you down.
That drink goes back to ancient Roman times.
Yeah, Switchel or Haymaker's Brew or Haymaker's Punch. There's a whole bunch of different names for it, but it gives you electrolytes. It's like a historic Gatorade.
Exactly. Now it's almost Independence Day.
Yeah.
Now back in the early 1800s, Independence Day and Easter were the two biggest holidays in the American tradition. What are they now? Arguably, I would say probably Christmas and Thanksgiving are the two biggest holidays for us Americans. But it used to be Independence Day and Easter. So we are going to celebrate Independence Day, St. John's style.
On July 6th at noon at the Bold Duke House. If you guys would like to come and participate in that, we're going to have a little promenade, little parade, if you will, around the historic square. We got the drum and fife coming. We're going to have the VFW, Honor Guard, and Color Guard coming. We're going to have the St. John Militia there, and any other reenacting group that wants to come. Even if you don't reenact and you're just a modern civilian, bring an American flag, or if you don't have one, we have some for you. You guys can march with us. And then when we get back to the yard, we're going to read the Declaration of Independence and give a couple speeches on why it's important to have patriotism in the country today and why it's important to continue these traditions. You enjoying yourself over there?
Man, I'm sorry. I just can't get away from this watermelon.
Also, there will be refreshments, aka ice cold water, and a birthday cake for America as well. So I'm gonna have a big old birthday cake.
There's
there.
gonna be a cake there?
There's gonna be a cake
I
there.
didn't even know that.
I've got to put an order in with the baker still.
My husband is one of the people that puts this on.
I'm one of the
Ron.
coordinators.
And
There's three of us.
I didn't even know there was gonna be a cake until 20 seconds ago.
Well, yeah, that's part of the surprise.
Well, nice.
Surprise! I've had one of those party blowers. I blew it.
Awesome.
Well, anyways, guys, that's all we have for today. I think there's nothing. There's no show and tell.
I have one more thing to mention today.
Oh.
And you had no clue I'm going to mention it,
Uh-oh.
but last week's video we got a couple of comments where people were saying, "Where's Ron's wedding ring?"
It's not on me. You know
Yeah.
why? Because I worked with these hands.
There's two reasons.
And also, the ring is way too big on me.
Way too big.
If I do this, it won't move. But if I do this, fling, it goes off. So it's really not that comfortable to wear until I have time to get it resized. So when I wear it, when my fingers are together, it's pushing. It's like trying to do this, and it's not the most comfortable, especially whenever I'm driving. Hey, when I'm driving, I really notice it whenever my hand's on a steering wheel. Then it's really like, it hurts my fingers.
Yeah,
So I wear it when we go out to dinner, like I wear a watch or whatever. I don't wear watches unless I'm going somewhere.
He's not a jewelry guy
Yeah.
anyway. And you know, random fact, men didn't even wear wedding rings until about the 1930s, 1940s. It's a modern tradition for a man to wear a wedding ring. It was always the woman that wore the ring, but never the man until the 20th century.
So don't be starting those conspiracy theories like, oh, Ron ain't really married, or
Oh,
Ron doesn't
please.
want to be married, or whatever else I can think of.
I'm sure there's like some online database where you can Google if someone's married or not. You can look it up or married. But anyway,
good.
so it's too big, and the thing is, we kind of got scammed a little bit with the ring, and it's not real gold.
It's sterling silver. I can't spend a lot of money on a ring, and nobody really should, realistically.
Right.
Because love ain't about money, so... But I purchased it, and it was supposed to have been rose gold plated, but the plating's not supposed to come off within, like, a week.
24 hours.
Yeah, it came off pretty quick, so now it's a silver ring, which is fine, but it needs to be cut and then soldered back together so it will fit my tiny little finger. It actually fit me better before we left on the trip.
You do not have tiny fingers.
Well,
Try to put my ring on your finger. The only reason I have this ring is because it's my 3-time great-grandmother's ring. I inherited it. Otherwise, I couldn't have afforded it. Wedding rings are so expensive. I can't believe it.
Right. So I'll keep my cheapo depot, but I got to get it resized, and then I'll wear it.
Okay.
Yep. So anyways, that's all we got, right?
That's all we got.
That's all we got. So you guys stay cool out there. Don't get too hot. Definitely drink something if you're and if you want something to drink, drink this or drink the Switch that I talked about. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. We love you guys.
Bye bye.